Hi, everybody. Transforming Suffering into Wisdom is a book I wrote many years ago that I'm now reading passage by passage. Each passage is a page or two. Today's passage, we are engaged with this, what I call the second intention. It's the intention of pulling the plug on the self. So the self is no longer getting enmeshed in your stories, in your life, and you're more free from it. Today's chapter is very relevant to the coronavirus. It's relevant to any time we feel pain, but sickness is one of the primary times when we feel it. And so today's reading and today's teaching is about how to do that. And the stronger that your practice is with the three intentions of being present, of pulling the plug on the self, and then being fearless and forgiving in the midst of suffering, the stronger your practice is, the more powerful your meditation if you get sick or when you get sick, whether it's coronavirus or anything. So this particular meditation is the meditation on pain, and it's a page and a half or so. There'll be a passage later in the book on meditation on sickness itself, but this is very relevant to it. Here we go. Meditation on pain. Before we move on to the third intention of being fearless and forgiving in the midst of suffering, it will be useful to consider how to do an inner listening practice in the midst of pain, and to consider how the self gets in the way of our freedom when pain is around. Often we confuse pain with suffering. So in your next meditation, notice what happens when pain arises. At first, when you meet each breath with mindfulness, sensation by sensation, you sail along free of the self that leads to suffering, fresh to every moment. A pain or an itch arises, and this is uncomfortable to me. I don't like this. What can I do to change this? I'll just scratch or move. The I arises with the pain. The present moment is entirely lost in self-centered stories. And there you are, anxious and annoyed by suffering. The three ways to end suffering are suddenly all absent from your life. Try this instead. Remember, freedom from suffering is not a zone we achieve or live in, but rather is a process, a practice of presence and transformation that is alive, alert, fresh, and nimble in each moment. When pain arises, notice it the way you notice the breath, sensation by sensation. Let your I thoughts go. If the pain or itch does not indicate real harm to the body, then either let the pain go and return to the breath, or let the breath go, making the pain or itch your meditation object until it no longer distresses you. It takes courage to keep returning to the painful sensations as your object of meditation while letting go of a plague of I thoughts. When you pay attention to these sensations, you realize they are constantly changing. And what started as painful may become merely interesting. What does throbbing really feel like? Or even, strangely enough, pleasurable. and eventually may disappear altogether. Of course, if the pain does indicate real harm to the body, it may make sense to shift your posture or to see a doctor. The three intentions are helpful in bringing an end to suffering. They have a more limited capacity to reduce pain and its underlying conditions. Just as coronavirus was beginning to spread around the world, was really taking off in Wuhan, but one suspects may have already arrived in California. I was flying from California to Hawaii. Someone coughed next to me incessantly for 4 or 5 hours, and I caught pneumonia. I'm still suffering from it. I mean, the pneumonia is gone, but I'm still suffering from the fatigue. What I've learned to do and what happened during that time for me was extraordinary. I had many blissful moments, miserable, blissful moments where I felt the misery of the cold, of the fever, of the pneumonia, but I felt free of self. And my awareness was so much no longer with the things of the world, but right here in this moment, that there were many extraordinary insights and experiences that felt close to the nature of the truth of things, of something profound. Learning to practice with pain is one of the most valuable things I've learned in my many years of meditation. Try it, and try it again, and try it again after that. Do your mindfulness practice daily, and every time pain arises, notice the pain. Go back to the breath, or stay with the pain, not as I thoughts, but as mere sensations, and see what happens. I send you, as if I were still in Hawaii, much aloha. Be well. And tomorrow, it sounds like from the book, we may be starting on the third intention. We're very close to it anyway. All right. Be well. Thanks.